Hi.
Thank you all for joining us here today at TEDxYYC. Welcome to our activation session, Cooking Vegetarian in the Big Easy with Chef Joey. Today's session will be conducted by Chef Joey, who's on the screen right now. My name is Jody Funk, and I will be your moderator today. I hope you're enjoying your day and the experience here at TEDxYYC. A couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. So today's session is being recorded for the convenience of event attendees. The recording will be available for 24 hours after the event and through until the end of June. So if you would like to circle back, you can absolutely do so. This session, we will be allowing people to share their video, especially if you're cooking alongside. We would love to see you cooking alongside Chef Joey. So in the top right-hand corner, you can just select to share your audio and video. And as the moderator, I will pop you onto the screen. If you have any questions, I ask that you do plug them into the Q&A section to the right-hand side of your screen. I will review the question. If it has to do with the recipe or the cooking, I will address that with Chef Joey during the cooking session. Anything else, I will leave until the Q&A session at the end. So feel free to ask questions for Chef Joey to answer at the end here. And any other kind of comments or engagement can be done in the chat option on the right-hand side as well. So now I'd like to introduce the host of today's session, Chef Joey. And Chef Joey found his passion for cooking in his birthplace of New Orleans. He honed his mad chef skills over his 30-year career by learning from the greats throughout the US and Canada. He moved his family to Calgary after being approached by the president of Arcis Seismic to create a Google-like corporate culture. Chef Joey designed the kitchen and served their employees each day for 10 years, in earning the title Top Workplaces to Work in Canada. Matrix Solutions lured him over to do the same thing for 5 years until COVID hit and they had to close the bistro. His partner in crime, a marketing specialist, met the same fate when COVID struck and up sprung Chef Joey, a virtual cooking class for people of all skill levels. His classes are an experience. It satisfies his love of teaching and cooking while meeting new people from all over the world. You can expect beautiful food with a few laughs from stories of his past and food lore. Chef Joey continues to reinvent himself and loves where his latest turn in his path has taken him. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Chef Joey.
Hi, that's such a beautiful thing. And my beautiful partner put that together for me. And if I had to look back at my 6-year-old self, that's what I would say to him. Don't worry about the future. This is what's going to happen, and you're going to be just fine. So I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad you guys, if you are cooking with us, let's get cooking. First thing I'm going to start off with is some Cajun spicy potatoes. I have, because I love flavor, I have some russets, which are starchier than Yukon Golds. Yukon Golds has a sweeter taste, and I have some sweet potatoes. So I cut them into chunks. I'm going to put them in a bowl, and we're going to get these in the oven. If you are doing the potatoes, cool. If you're not doing the potatoes, cool. You want a 425-degree oven. I've asked everyone from the recipes to put together the spice mix. So I'm going to put the spice mix on the potatoes, and I'm going to make them spicy. Now here's tip number 1, hot oven. Tip number 2, know your audience. If you're cooking for grandma, and you know grandma has irritable bowel syndrome, you want to cut down the spices. That's very important. So I have my spice mix here, and it's just for Katrina and I. She loves the spice. I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup of olive oil to my potatoes, but then I'm going to wait and get kind of funky. I have some beautiful truffle oil here. I'm going to add a tablespoon of truffle oil, just to make it different. Little small changes in your cooking ingredient repertoire can make a big difference in your cooking. So point number 2, I'm going to toss these together, oil and spice mix. Now, I like to say I am the cook for everyone, whether you are a Gordon Ramsay wannabe or whether you can't boil a pot of hot water. I'm here for you. So I'll stop anytime someone has a question. I'd be more than happy to answer. In order to make cooking go faster, I did a wire rack In order to make cleanup better, I put aluminum foil under the sheet pan, and I'm just gonna layer the potatoes on my wire rack. This will help with the circulation of the cooking, makes them cook faster, no stickage to the bottom of the aluminum foil, and the potatoes will have an overall crispy effect on the outside and a moist, juicy, fluffy, like mashed potato effect on the inside. I'm not going to crowd my pan. I'm going to do just that, make room for everyone. There's a place at my table for everyone. And into the oven it goes at 425, 35 minutes. So after the class, they should be coming out. Middle of the rack, and off they go. Now the moment everyone's been waiting for, veggie burgers. This veggie burger is the best veggie burger I've ever had. It's a mixture of, and I don't take full credit, a New Orleans style flavor profile mixed with a rebar flavor profile that when I used to work in Victoria was one of the first vegetarian restaurants I worked at and attended on a regular. So what we have here to get you started first is 3/4 cup chopped white onions. And if you are cooking along, I'll go through recipes and we'll start cooking. 1/2 cup chopped red pepper. 1.5 cups black beans. 1.5 cups chickpeas. 1 cup of rice, right? So not 1 cup of uncooked rice, 1 cup of cooked rice. So that's going to be our binder along with our egg. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a large skillet, a saute pan, and put it over a medium-high flame. I'm a big fan of Tim Ferriss, and his logic when it comes to cooking and teaching is you start with 1 kernel of what someone needs to know, just one thing, and you teach them that. And then you go to the second most important thing they need to know. So in cooking, in my opinion, the first thing, most important thing you need to know is you have to get your pan hot. You want some heat. The heat ignites whatever you're cooking. So I'm going to allow my pan to get hot. That's the first thing. And I know when it's hot when I put my hand over it and I can feel the heat. I'm on a medium heat if you're cooking along, which would be about 7 on a clock, somewhere between high and medium. Everybody's with me?
Okay.
Perfect. Awesome. What can I say about these veggie burgers? Made from scratch. Veggie burgers should be flavorful, hearty, made from scratch, and filling, right? That's my expectation when I am proposing to eat one or proposing to make one. The first veggie burger was invented in 1969 in London by a small micro vegetarian restaurant called Seed. It was so popular that John and Yoko would go there all the time. I bet you didn't know that. Okay? See, the guy that started this restaurant, his name is Sam Grant. Yeah, Sam Grant, I think. Okay, so I'm gonna start. I have 3/4 cup, 3 tablespoons of olive oil. That's gonna go into my pan. And I'm gonna put half in. My pan is nice and hot. And the way I could tell is the viscosity of the oil is moving much faster than if the pan was cold, because it would be like molasses. It's really slow. So now that the pan is hot, my oil is moving around. That's a telltale sign that it's hot. And I'm going to add my onions first. Everybody's with me, because I don't want to go too fast, but I don't want to go too slow. So, onions in. You hear that beautiful sizzle? That's what you want to have. And I'm going to spread my onions around, or as one of my old chefs used to say, I'm going to chase them around the pan. If I need more oil, I'll put more oil. You can see I'm going to go right into the oven can right now. There's the oven can right on. So you should be looking here. We're just going to saute our onions. Medium heat. How's my voice? Too loud?
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. All right. So while that's sauteing, I'm going to tell you what we're looking for. We want wilted and soft, little bit of brown. My sizzle is going down, so I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit. If you're cooking at home, that's all you have to do. I've turned it from 7 to 8. I'm going to let my onions cook. I know next I'm going to put in with my onions is the black beans. Once the onions get to the soft, wilted, translucentness of it, that's going to go in next because we want those to cook. That's going to be our base. That's going to be our fiber to hold our veggie patty together, along with our chickpeas, red pepper, garlic, and rice. Okay. So 1969, first Veggie Burger. 1970, it kind of moved to the States. 73, they had the Love Burger, right? And the Love Burger was a burger that was made in a factory, and it wasn't really nice. So vegetarians were like, yeah, that's nasty. We're not eating that. It was soy-based. Then, 10 years later, on comes the scene is the Garden Burger. And I know you guys remember that. Oh yeah, the Garden Burger, very popular. They were serving them in restaurants. You would buy them already made, you cook it, and the vegetarian community was really small, so they kind of accepted that burger, right? After the Veggie Burger, in 2000 came the Impossible Burger, where people were making them from scratch in little mom and pop shops, freezing them and selling them to big corporations, and the big corporations would then again sell them, and the burgers would get better. 2010, we had the Mama and Papa Burger, like they're serving at A&W, and they call that the Beyond Meat Burger. And then lastly, we got the Sweet Earth Burger, and that's the hottest biscuit coming out of California, all natural. They're using wheat byproduct, soy, but they're making the soy, the wheat, the vegetables taste much better, more like meat, more granular like meat. So there's your Veggie Burger history. Back to the cooking class. So my onions go in. I'm going to throw in my black beans, 1½ cups. And I'm going to allow the onions to envelope the black beans and give them flavor. I'm going to add a little bit more oil. That was about a teaspoon. And here is one of the things that I've learned as a chef along the way. I like to layer my flavors in. I don't know how that started. I don't know who told me to do that. But after 30 years of cooking, I found that this kind of works for my style of cooking. I'm a bit of a flavor person, a diva. Let me say diva. I'm a flavor diva. As much flavor as I can get into a dish, I will. So I'm going to put up my spice profile here. And I've asked everyone to put them together, but I'm going to explain them as I go in a very funny way. So right here, I got paprika, onion powder, and garlic powder, which is definitely a spice profile in Louisiana, and also of a Cajun burger, and also of a regular burger. I also have, to bring it away from being too regular, I have cumin, chili, and cayenne. I'm going to add that to that. So now I have a balance. I have my garlic powder, my onion powder, my paprika, and I'm going to add a Asian Mexican influence to it. And next I'm going to add marjoram, thyme, and oregano. And that's going to be my New Orleans influence along with some celery salt. And lastly, I'm going to add salt and black pepper. But let me give my beans a stir. So beans are looking good. I'm going to add my red peppers to my beans and onion mix. And I'm going to chase those around the pan. Now in my flavor profile, one way to change up your normal cooking every day, instead of using black pepper, try white pepper. They say once you go black pepper, it's very hard to go back to white pepper, but I like to use both. I don't discriminate. So I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon white pepper and a 1/4 teaspoon black pepper to my spice profile mix. I'm going to stir them up, and then I'm going to do what I do with all my food, is layer the flavors in. Maybe 1 tablespoon going in first, with some on reserve. So when I add more stuff to it, I can add more spices. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want to cook the spice right out of my meal. I want the spice to be layered here, seasoning the beans, seasoning the red pepper, seasoning the onions, add more stuff to it, add another layer of spice here, seasoning the rice, seasoning the chickpeas, and then last but not least, add another finishing spice on the top. So when you make soup at home, little spice all the way through. I'm going to add a little bit more oil, and we're almost done with the saute. My oil's going in. I'm going to add my fresh garlic, 2 teaspoons pureed garlic, and I'm going to add my chickpeas right here. I'm going to let that mix. And this is the hardest part of this recipe, because after we have all this together, softened, flavorful, we're going to blend it, add the rest of my ingredients here. We're going to talk about that, and then shape this into burger. So just bear with me on this. Everybody's doing great. Beautiful day in Calgary. Best country in the world, Calgary. Okay, so my next layer of spice is going in. If you're cooking along, I know I'm going kind of fast, but there'll be a video that you can relate to and come back to. Okay, so I have my next layer of spice. Okay. My pan is nice and hot. I'm going to turn it down to medium high, and I'm going to add my final ingredients. My final ingredients are going to be my pumpkin seeds, which I'm going to add right to my mix, and they're kind of lightly roasted. And you can get funky. You can add some sesame seeds if you want, or some sunflower seeds if you like. And I'm going to stir those in. And that pumpkin seed is going to give it a crunch, a nice crunch. All right, so I'll move this on the side. And I'll present to you what I have. I have my mix, and I'm just going to put it on this sheet pan so everybody can see. Turn off my flame. I know my potatoes are good in the oven at 450. And there's my base for my veggie burger. What's the time looking like?
10 minutes left.
Okay. I'm going to add my rice to my veggie burger, and that is a ½ cup. And I'm using this to cool this down a bit. I'm going to add more of the spice profile into it, and mix that up. And I haven't added my salt. So we're going to add our salt now. And there's my salt. Now I'm careful with the salt. I'm going with a ½ tea because I'm going to taste it later. So part 1, part 2. I'm going to remove from part 2 a third of it and put it in this cup. Everything else is going to go into my cuisines. 20 minutes, okay, right? So it's going to go in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly pulse it, but I'm going to allow it to cool off a bit. So I'll just reiterate what's in here. My black beans, my flavor profile, my garlic, my rice, my pumpkin seeds lightly roasted, my chickpeas, my black beans. This is my base. Okay, I'm just going to leave that in there. Now, you're probably saying, Chef Joey, what about the other stuff? Well, I'm going to make this into a paste, and I'm going to make this kind of chunky. So I'm going to take my chef's knife, and I'm just going to give it a chop. I want to bite into some rice, and some black bean, and some onion, and some pumpkin seed. I want this to be my filler, to hold it together, and I want this to make people say, oh yeah, this is from scratch. Everybody's with me. Stay with me, folks. Okay. So I'm going to put this on the side. I'm just going to scrape it to the bowl.
So in classes, we go much slower, hey?
Yes, we do go much slower in classes. Now, here's the nice stuff. I have 1 chipotle that I'm going to add to my chunky mix or to my blender, but I know it's spicy, so I'm going to chop it down a bit. Where is it? What did I do? Okay, there it is. I have it right here. I'm going to chop it down a bit. And the chipotle is a poblano pepper that's been smoked, cured, smoked, and then rehydrated in an adobo sauce. So that's going to go in, and that's going to be really spicy. I'm going to add also to that my ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, and I think a little bit of vinegar. 2. Okay. And while that's in there, I'm going to pulsate my base, my paste. So I'm just going to pulsate it till it comes together. I want it to be more paste-like than my chunky stuff, because I want my paste to be swimming around my chunky stuff. So I'm going to pulse it. If you're doing this, take your time. And then another swirl, and it's getting there. Now, you might be saying, Chef Joey, it's looking kind of dry. We're going to add egg and some breadcrumbs to bring it together. So one more pulse. Perfect. So in with my mix. In with my mix, chunky mix, pasty mix, going together. They've been separated at birth. Now they're back together again.
Use a 5.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm making the pasty mix is to have some filler for the burger. Okay, that's going out of the way. 3 ingredients left. I have goat cheese or feta cheese, 1/3 cup, just for that extra salty flavor. And I have 2 eggs. And those 2 eggs is going to be my binding agent. So I'm going to give them a little swirl. Like so. First. And the reason why I kind of waited for my mixed vegetarian burger mix to cool off is so that I don't cook the eggs. If it's too hot, it'll cook the eggs. They'll lose their natural binding ability and kind of go lightly scrambled. So I made sure it's cool. I put my finger in it. It's cool enough. I'm going to add my eggs to it, along with my feta cheese, crumbled. And I'm going to mix those things together. Now it's going to be a bit of a paste-like mess, and that's good. Because I have one more ingredient to put, and that is my breadcrumbs. So if you're with me so far, I could reiterate what happened, but we have a video for that. So there's my paste-like, sticky, ooey-gooey substance that we're going to shape into a burger. It's a little bit too wet, we know, but we're going to add some breadcrumbs to it. 2 more things. We're going to add our breadcrumbs, which are here. And remember that spice mix? I'm going to give it a little bit of a taste. I'm going to check my seasonings here. I'm putting it to the back of my throat. It's not spicy enough. It tastes really good. I'm going to hit it with a little more spice. I know my audience. We have a 7-year-old. She's picky. I have to wake the kid up in the middle of the night, stick a jalapeno in her mouth just to get her used to spice. She still don't like it. So I added another teaspoon of spice. And now I'm going to add, I have breadcrumbs. I have a 1/2 cup. I'm going to add just enough breadcrumbs in my first go round to make it bind, but keeping it still moist and wet. Okay. Now I'm going to put on my grill, and I'm going to show you guys, and allow the breadcrumbs to absorb the excess liquid before I go to the next batch. Everybody's with me? Last but not least, we're going to add some fresh herbs to this. Here's a cooking tip, teachable moment. When you're using fresh herbs, cut them when you need them, right? I have parsley, cilantro, and dill. About a tablespoon each, or a little bit more. If you cut them earlier in the day and put them on the side, all that effervescent evaporation happens. All the stuff that makes herbs yummy is evaporating into the air. So what I like to do is roll them up and cut them when I need them. And then instead of leaving them on my cutting board, I go right into the mix. So all that evaporation is happening inside the mix. I'm not losing no flavor. Remember I told you, I'm a flavor diva. Right? I'll tell you another trick. When I made the rice, I made sure it had a little bit of a yellow tinge to it. I used vegetable stock in the rice instead of water. Butter, as well as a pinch or two of salt. Anytime you can get more flavor into a product, you could do just a minimal amount of effort. It's the consistency of trying to add more flavor. Take that opportunity. Be adventurous. Be courageous when you cook. Now, I don't know everything, but boy, I know a little bit. And one thing I can tell you for sure is if you don't take chances with your food and have some flops, your food will always taste the same. You gotta experiment. Here's my herbs going. Right? And I'm gonna mix that in. And we're almost ready to shape them. My mix is getting stiff. My herbs in. My beautiful Patrina is taking away all the stuff as I put it together. I'm gonna add another 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. And that probably should do it. Okay. What's our time like?
You got 10 minutes.
10 minutes. All right.
What's your favorite restaurant in New Orleans?
Favorite restaurant in New Orleans? Emerald's. I used to work for him. He's a gem of a man. Love him a lot. Food is good. Next will probably be Commander's Palace, followed by Stella. And Stella is right off of Jackson Square. Beautiful kind of New Orleans, Afro-Caribbean. And don't forget Boyona, Susan Spice's restaurant, who's one of my favorite chefs from New Orleans. Okay? Now, we have 3 ways to cook this. You could do it in a skillet like this. Ta-da! Medium heat. You could do it on one of my little flat top grills that you just plug in and get it hot. Ta-da! Or you could do it kind of old school cast irony, and this is what I'm gonna go with. It's my little cast iron skillet. I got it oiled up nicely. I'm gonna put it on both sides. I'm gonna let it get medium hot. I'm gonna make sure I put on my exhaust fan because there's always drama in my house with this stove. Right? I have oil. I have avocado oil. If you want to stay veggie, have some avocado oil. You use canola, you use the truffle oil I wouldn't use to cook. But I use the canola oil, and I'm just gonna put a light coat on the grill to fry my burgers. So I'm gonna try one with my hand, and if it's too sticky to make a patty with, like now, I know I need more breadcrumbs. And off I go. And I do believe that a 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs is exactly what I need, so I'm gonna go with them all. The reason why cooking is an imprecise, precise science, and you have to get the recipe together, but you have to use a little bit of common sense, is because the rice might have gotten too wet, or the beans were too soft, or you cooked the onions not enough. You don't know. So I go by recipe, and then I go by feel. I know what a proper veggie burger should feel like in my hands, right? It should be sticky, but there should be enough moisture in there. So if I was making this at home, which I am, I would take this veggie burger and I would put it between plastic wrap. Like so. Since we're cooking, I'll put it between plastic wrap like so I don't get my hands all mucky, and then make the shape. And into the fridge, this little burger would go. And while it sits in the fridge for about 15 minutes like that, it allows the breadcrumbs to absorb the moisture, egg to kick in and hold everything together. But since we are pressed for time, I'm just gonna make one more and put it right on my grill. So if you're making this at home, take the time to shape the burgers, I would say a nice Earl size patty, right? I have some beautiful buns. I have a whole wheat bun as well as a brioche bun. So I would wrap them up. That would be one way to do it. Another way would be to put them on a plate, put them in the fridge, cover them with plastic. But if you use the plastic wrap to shape them, they don't get all messy. So I'm gonna put this on the side, guys. Here's my mix. My suggestion would be to make all your burgers, put them on the sheet pan. I know that Jody cooks for her husband. He loves her food. So when she makes this, she'll make all the burgers, put them in the fridge, wait for him to come home, get his pipe, get his slippers, and then get his dinner.
Maybe 30 years ago.
Maybe 30 years ago, yeah. Maybe it's the other way. Maybe Jody's husband get her fluffy pink slippers and her pipe, and it goes like that. Who knows? All right. So while my grill's getting hot and I'm allowing it to get hot, I got my burgers here. Here's some great things that you could use for your burger. First, get a good bun. This is a brioche bun. It's delicious. I think they have it at Safeway. A superstore, if I had time, I would make buns from scratch. You could always go the whole wheat method, right? Whole wheat is always a good bun. Okay. I have some filler right here. I took the liberty of slicing some avocado, roasted some red pepper, iceberg lettuce, which is my favorite, tomato and cucumber, just to accentuate that vegginess. Now, if you want to get really crazy, I've grilled some pineapple. I've made a sweet red onion caramelized jam, and I made a pineapple chutney. So those could go on. You can find all those recipes on the internet. Okay? My grill is smoking. I'm going to turn it down. My potatoes are doing well. I'm going to add a little bit of grease to my grill. Avocado oil. And I'm just going to drop that bad boy right on the oil and allow it to fry. Give it a little swirl so that there's oil underneath and it's swimming on a little bit of oil so that the heat and the oil cooks the burger nicely. So that's my first one. I don't have enough of a sizzle on it, so I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit. And my second one will be in the back. Now you have to remember, all this stuff inside is cooked. So what we want to do is just grill it on both sides till it comes together and the eggs kick in and hold the burger together, and both sides. Okay. All right, so while that's going, and I got my eye on it, I'm gonna make sure that my oil is underneath my burger. I got nice heat. If I have to put more oil, I will. Everybody still with me? Let's take a look at our potatoes. Quick and dirty, that's what we call this in our house. So my potatoes are getting a little bit more for another 10 minutes. So while those are baking, burgers are frying. Notice the timing, right? The effectiveness of a chef in the kitchen depends on two things: effectiveness, efficiency, and timing. Three things. Two things: timing and efficiency. Yeah. So we want to have a bunch of things going at one time so we could put the meal out all together for you. So I have my potatoes in. I know how much time I need, about another 5 minutes. My burger's on. I know I need about 10 to 12 minutes on that. I got my fixings ready. Last thing I need is my dipping sauce. And that's real easy. My dipping sauce is my New Orleans favorite dipping sauce. And you can find it just about anywhere where you would find remoulade sauce, French dressing. They sell it in the stores. And it's really simple and easy. It's ketchup, Tabasco hot sauce, mixed together into a bowl. Okay. And my mind is focused on my burger behind me. Some sour cream, because what goes better with potatoes than sour cream? Now, And I'm gonna give that a stir.
What makes it Creole?
The spice profile makes it Creole, in my opinion. So in here, I have Tabasco. My burgers are cooking. Don't be that person, like when people go and travel places, they come behind, they come back and they bring me hot sauce. And the hot sauce they bring me is like ass in a tub or pucker up or, you know, Satan's piss. Who would want that kind of hot stuff? Don't bring that to me. Bring me something mild, like, you know, yummy hot sauce, good for the mouth, won't kill you the next day. That's what I want. So don't be that person. Okay, I'm gonna flip my first burger over and my second one too. And I'm gonna make sure I have enough oil because the second one didn't get enough oil. So I'm gonna make sure I have enough oil underneath the second one, swirl it around and flip. We want that crispy, crunchy top on both sides. I'm gonna adjust my heat to medium, high. I like the way they're cooking. Back to my mayo. In my favorite profile, I got a little bit of sugar, cayenne pepper, and you could use Cajun seasonings, white pepper because I don't discriminate, black pepper, and a bit of thyme, and that's going in. And once again, know your audience. Don't make it too spicy that it's unedible. That's another thing that's untrue about New Orleans food. Not everything is spicy to the hilt, right? Last but not least, I'm gonna add malt vinegar just to make it vinegary like you have it fish and chips. And that's my secret ingredient. Okay, all right? Okay, so in a fridge it goes, or in a serving dish, a little more spice. Okay. So I'm gonna take one of those buns, I'm gonna throw them on the grill, I'm gonna flip the cutting board over. See that? Ta-da! Beauty, eh? Here's my bun. Look at that brioche bun. Okay, butter and egg. Yummy. Just kind of whole wheaty. Oh, it's okay. But it's staying with the profile, right? So I'm going to put my bun on. Because I love warm buns, and I cannot lie. I don't know what that came from. That could be a song. So I have some Pam here, and it's not your mammy's Pam. This is coconut oil Pam. I'm just going to Pam spray my burger in the grill. And I'm just going to give it another flip. And it's looking good. You want that crusty top?
Karen says she has a spice mix called Slap Your Mama.
Yeah, I like Slap Your Mama. I know that one. You got to use that sparingly, though, because that after you slap your mama a couple times, you go looking to slap somebody else's mama. All right? So my burger is getting kind of hot. You see the steam coming off my grill. I'm going to cut it down because I just need to cook it throughout. I need the inside to be moist, but heated throughout. You have to remember, we have cooked rice, cooked beans, cooked red pepper, cooked onions, garlic, spices, egg. We just want to raise that egg temperature above the temperature that could kill you into the safe zone. That's how we do it. If it's mushy and soft, but heated all the way throughout in the middle, that's great. The last thing you want is a dried up ass veggie burger. That turns unvegetarians off. So you have to make sure you get it right. One more split, and I can feel the center is starting to give a little bit. So when I push on it, it feels cooked in the center. Time to put the big one in the back is not done, but I'm putting my burger on. Burger on the back. The one in the front is done. And I'm going to serve Patrina our veggie burger. I'm going to put, yep. And I'm going to put my, look at that. I'm going to put a pineapple on the grill because I love it so much. A pineapple out here. Oh, yeah. Got my bun going back there. Okay. How much time I got? 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Awesome. Okay. Now, cheese. Go nuts with the cheese, folks. You don't have to use normal cheese. I'm using Fantina cheese, which is Italian cheese, sweet in flavor. Because I want it to bounce off the sweetness of the vegetables. Okay, 2 minutes. I'm just going to put that right on top. One of my favorite Italian cheeses. You don't have to be cheddar all the time. And I'm just going to cut that off right there. Put that on top of my burger. You see what I did there? Grab my bun. Oh yeah, Grab my burger. Pineapple. 1, 2. Move that burger back. Grab my bun. Boom, boom.
Smells so good in
Yep.
here.
Pineapple on top. Just a light pineapple. I'm gonna turn my grill off because we're ready to go. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of my mayo, just a little bit. Avocado. For all you millennials, I love using that avocado, especially avocado with toast, without toast. Yep. Some red pepper. That's gonna go on. Almost there, guys. A tomato and some cucumbers, and then my lid. So that's my burger. That Patrina's gonna have to deal with. I don't have to deal with that. And my fries, which come out the other now. Now, if your fries are still kind of hard, that's okay. Put them back in the oven. But for time purposes, I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna get my little fries right here. That sweet potato is too big for the display. I'm gonna put them in a little thing like so. And they could probably use another 5. That's it. We're done. Ding, 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 ding. There's your New Orleans style inspired rebar veggie burger made. New Orleans inspired style rebar veggie burger made from scratch. Here at Chef Joy in my own kitchen that I share with the world. Love you guys. Bye. That's all I got.
How's it taste?
Well, you tell me. Oh, we gotta eat it. Is that what you guys want? Yeah, I'm gonna cut it in half.
Over to you, Jody.
Over to you, Jody. Okay. Okay, come and share it with me, Patrina. Oh boy,
You go for it.
it's gonna be a mess. Just like I remembered it. Delicious. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate being in such fine company.
Great.
I am humbled. Have a great day, guys.